People have asked me, like, when are you going to be content? When are you going to stop? Like, you're going back to school? I mean, you're 44 years old. You're like, why aren't you happy where you are? And yes, I'm very happy where I am because I've taken risks. I'm happy where I am today because I've taken risks, because I've made major changes in my life. I quit drinking alcohol 2 years ago, and you and I
Hello, and welcome to another great episode of the 24 Hour Boss podcast. I'm your host, Brian Hill. This is part 2 of our discussion with Roxanne Saldana. She is the founder of Snow on the Rocks, a vegan snowball and salsa business located at the Grow Desoto Marketplace in DeSoto, Texas. In part 1 of our conversation, we left off with her greatest highlight that she's had operating the business. And in today's episode, we pick up that same conversation with her greatest obstacle she's faced as a business owner. We also talk about the second product she sells at the location, which is Mama Ruthie's Aztec Salsa. We talk about some of her mentors. She also shared with us in this racially divided climate of how she encourages her black son to pursue his goals and dreams. And for those who may not know, Roxanne is not black. So I thought that was interesting that she would just discuss that and how she encourages her son. We also talk about the goals she has for her business, and there is plenty more that we discussed in this great conversation. But before we get to today's show, we want to recognize our sponsor, and that's Hill Realty Group. Hill Realty Group is a real estate company that serves the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in Texas. Hill Realty Group is ready to support you in regard to all your real estate needs. Whether you're looking to purchase your first home or sell your current property, contact them today and ask for Latasha Hill. You can find them online at hillrealtygroup.net, also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at HRG Dallas. That's at HRG Dallas. Hill Realty Group, making people happy and changing lives. Now let's get into today's show. Success. So what obstacles or setbacks have you experienced operating this business? What would you say?
I mean, obviously, for anybody who's starting a business or trying to grow a business, financial setbacks can get in the way. And I've always wanted to make sure that I wasn't in major debt or wasn't taking out these big loans from banks and with so I had so much interest, or where somebody else owned my business and I didn't really, you know. So I wanted to always make sure that I was doing things kind of within a means and not but the financial part of it definitely has, you know, made me have to grow a little bit slower than I want to. I mean, if I
Right.
had the money that I want to have in order to grow, I mean, there would be a lot of things going on right now.
Mm,
But it has also forced me to slow down and to perfect the things that I'm, incorporating. So you always have to look at even the things that are setbacks as positives, because they force you to be in the now and not to be like, well, I can't wait till this and I can't wait till that. Like, enjoy the process, be in the
right.
moment, appreciate the struggle, because one day when you get to where you're going, you can look back and be like, man, had it not been for that, I wouldn't have learned A, B, and C. The struggle is a time for learning. So,
Right. And I think that's good. You say appreciate the process because there's learning in it. If you go too fast, you could miss something or you could make some mistakes that, you may not be able to recover from.
right.
So you just kind of just learn and grow as you go. But I like that. Appreciate the process, and it is it's a learning thing to be in business. I mean, even for myself, I'm learning so much.
Hmm.
Uh, just trying to operate a business. It is a challenge. Of course, money, that may be one of the biggest, because it's like I got all these ideas, all these things, but it's like you said, you just have to take your time and grow and just grow in the process of your business because you don't want to just cause an issue or do something that's self-inflicted and it causes you to, you know, have a huge setback. So great
Yeah,
advice
and it
there.
keeps the process like it very genuine, like, it keeps the growth very genuine and very like intentional. Again, back to the word intentional, which is one of my big words, intention and integrity and authenticity. Those three things are so, I think, important when you have a business. If you do everything with intention, you have integrity in the products you're putting out and just in who you are. And if you stay authentic, then everything else kind of falls into place.
I would agree. I would agree. I think those are some great words: integrity and intention, authentic. Uh, definitely something that I would say every business owner should probably take note of that, because you do want to definitely want to have integrity, because you want to be trusted.
That's
Like we talked about the greed factor. You don't want people to think that, oh man, every time I come around, they just want to sell, 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 sell. So you just, you want to be yourself, but you also want to use integrity, because at the end of the day, people want to know that they can trust you. Not only that, they just hey, if they can't trust you, a lot of times that will steer people away. So, but I think those are important
exactly.
points.
And you know what? People
And so,
can
go ahead.
find a
Yes.
fake. People can spot a fake any day.
That's so true. That's so true. Yes, we're keen to that. We can we when we sense that, it's like that's a turnoff. So you
Oh, big
don't
time.
want that
Right.
as a business owner, or if you're operating business, or even as a person that works in a business. You want to make sure that you use all types of integrity and honesty, because you're the face of that business. So
You
at the
are
end of
that
the day,
business.
if you want them to come in, you got to have integrity. So important, so important. Very well said. So I want to talk about this other great product that you have there that I've tried myself, and that actually I have just run out. It's Mama Ruthie's salsa.
Yes. Is it fab or what?
That is so amazing. Mama Ruthie's salsa.
Mm,
And
it's
so
so good.
let me first, I guess, just say, okay, so how I got introduced to the sauce. Of course, your mom is there at the Snowcone place.
Mhm.
I didn't know you guys sold salsa, but of course, as we're sitting there, waiting, your mom comes up. She say, "Hey, you guys want to try some salsa?" And we're like, "Okay, sure." She had some chips and she had the salsa, and she let us try it. And so I'm like, "Okay, that's pretty good." And I think the first time we tried it, it was the mild. The next time, I think on another occasion we tried the more I don't know if the spicy, I guess you could say.
Right.
And that one, I was thinking, because I can't eat too much spicy.
Mm,
I don't like too hot.
I don't either.
But when I tried it, I was like, this is really good. Actually, I liked it better than the mild one. And so we started buying Mama Ruthie salsa, and we started using it on. I mean, we were using it on everything, on nachos. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we made breakfast tacos just to. I mean, it's just so good.
It's
And so,
amazing.
yes, if you could just elaborate and talk about this great Mama Ruthie salsa.
Okay. The recipe from Mama Ruthie's Aztec salsa came from my great grandmother. Her name was, we called her Mama Lupe. And she had the recipe. And so my mother learned the recipe from my grandmother, who got it from her mother, Mama Lupe. And my mom starts making it, and people go crazy over it. So she started making it like for Christmas gifts and things like that. And then people started reaching out and being like, hey, can I buy a jar of your salsa? No, we're talking 15, 20 years ago this started. And so at Christmas, she would sell like 50 jars, and because people were giving it out as Christmas gifts, and it just kind of went from there. And so whenever I started the snow cone trailer, um, I told her, I said, you know what? Why don't you come and sell some salsa out of the snow cone stand? Because she had always said, when I retire, I'm going to be the salsa lady. And she talks just like this. If you have, you know how she talks. She says, Roxanne, I want to sell salsa out of the trailer. And so I'm like, well, do it. Come on, let's get your salsa. Let's start taking some jars up there, and you can sell it on the weekends. Well, it started growing and growing, and people got, I mean, with for lack of better words, kind of addicted to it and started
Yes.
putting it on everything, people put it on their eggs at breakfast or their breakfast
Mhm.
tacos. They're putting it on, putting it on their fajitas for dinner or just eating chips and salsa. One of my personal faves is to like instead of Rotel tomatoes in your cheese dip, you put the salsa in there.
Oh.
Oh my god, I just had to wipe my mouth because my mouth started watering and started drooling over here. It's so delicious, and I've even had friends call me and they're like, "I'm out of chips, and tell me why I'm sitting here with the spoon eating your mom's salsa." It's so good, and it's like, I mean, salsa is salsa. You think that, but it's not. I mean, it's so good and it's different than anything you can get. But it's like, I mean, tomatoes, jalapenos, cilantro, like how different can a salsa be? But it is. And I think that's because it doesn't have preservatives. It's natural and
Mhm.
I don't know, but it's so good.
It is pretty amazing. We love it, of course, and like you said, it is very unique and very I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how she does it, but it's pretty good, and
Magic.
it's different. And I'll be honest, we haven't bought the store brands salsa because we've been using it on pretty much everything, and so it's very good. And you know what? It also fits your brand because your brand is vegan, so
It does fit my brand. It
it fits
really
your brand
does.
perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it's perfect. I mean, we do snow cones and chips and salsa, and that's the base of our business is snow cones and the chips and salsa. And I actually like to eat chips and salsa while eating a snow cone.
I can agree with that. That's a good combination,
Yeah,
and it's like I said, it's very good, and I love it. And so, like I said, it fits your brand perfectly because it goes along with the vegan. And who would ever think that? Oh yeah, they sell snow cones, but they also have salsa. But it's pretty amazing, pretty good. So I say
yeah.
that to all the listeners. If you're listening, you have to if you go to Snow in the Bronx, you have to try Mama Ruthie salsa because it's pretty amazing, pretty good.
Yes, you have to get some salsa.
Yes, and if Mama Ruth is there, she'll give you some to sample for free. So
She will do that. She likes to give samples.
yes, so good, good, good. Okay, so as a business owner, what are your goals? What goals do you want to accomplish? What are your plans maybe in the year, next 5 years? Where you want to go?
Well, I want to grow. I need a storefront in order to go where I'm going as far as incorporating some other products and just some other things that I want to incorporate. I need to have a storefront because we are in a little tiny, trailer. So I'm looking for a space so that I can grow, but I want to keep my trailer at Grow Desoto Marketplace. We have a great little community there and we have great customers. So I don't want that to go anywhere. I do need to have a little storefront where we're doing snow cones and we can offer some other products. I do an amazing vegan chicken salad that I would like to sell like as a grab and go product. And we also my mom does these vegan oyster crackers that are a party in your mouth. And
I think
so,
she let me try some of those actually.
oh, she did give you some?
Yeah, I think we
They're
got some of
so
those.
good.
They're
And
good.
even non-vegan, I want my products, everything that I ever sell, I wanna make sure that a vegan or a non-vegan is gonna like them, because it's the little things that make a big difference in the world. It's like, if I could talk one person into, like, not eating meat on Mondays, or even on Mondays, instead of drinking 2 glasses of milk, I'm gonna not drink milk, or I'm gonna drink almond milk, or little switches and little changes make a big difference to the environment. And I became vegan as like my personal protest against commercial farming. That's the reason that I am vegan. Of course, it's better for my health, but my main I'm vegan for the animals, and so those little changes go a long way. And so if people come to me to get snacks or come to me to get their snow cones, they are taking, making little changes in the environment, in the world, and into commercial animal farming. And so that's the what I always want to bring something to the table that is exactly what you would expect in a product that's non-vegan. So in order to grow, I really need a storefront, and that's the direction that I'm going. I also am, like I told you, I'm writing a book that's a life coaching book to help people to create like that perfect vision, like we talked about, standing on the edge of the cliff. You're on a big bed of rocks and it's like down below is like your best life, and you have to take the plunge and go to get there. And so I'm writing a book about how to get to your best life and to live your most authentic, intentional self. And so I'm going to be starting a life coaching business. And that's, next on my list. I've already got a name and everything. I can't put it out yet because I've got things in the works, but I'm working on a website and all of those things to get that in place, so that I can actually leave the education profession. Not that I don't love it. I truly love my career and love, what I've spent the last 21 years of my life doing. I love it. But I feel like there's a bigger plan for me, and I want to help people on a different level. Like I said earlier, I want to just see what I can do, what I'm capable of. And so that's kind of the direction that I'm going. Not kind of, that is the direction I'm going.
That sounds great and amazing, and I think it's important that as you continue to go or grow along this journey of business, you do have to look at different avenues. Not that you change, but you just want to make sure that, hey, you're just not sitting stagnant, or that you're not trying to find ways to improve or better yourself. Like you said, if you you give the example of standing on that cliff. If you don't take that plunge, you just never know. And of course, you've taken that plunge, but if you had stayed on that cliff, all of that stuff you just mentioned, those goals that you have, to write the book, to help people in business, all those things, you wouldn't be there. But
I
because you
know.
did take that plunge, you're headed that direction. So
Right.
very important.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that people have asked me, like, when are you going to be content? When are you going to stop? Like, you're going back to school? I mean, you're 44 years old. You're like, what? Aren't you happy where you are? And yes, I'm very happy where I am because I've taken risks. I'm happy where I am today because I've taken risks, because I've made major changes in my life. I quit drinking alcohol 2 years ago, and you and I kind of talked about that before today. But 2 years ago, a little over 2 years, I quit drinking alcohol because it was just causing some problems in my life. And so letting go of vices, making sure that I'm like constantly improving. I don't ever want to be content. So when people ask me that question, I'm always like, well, I hope never. I never want to stop growing. I don't ever want to stop living and stop seeing what the world has for me. Because if you don't take those jumps and take risks sometimes, then you never know what there is.
That's so true. So true. You gotta, not that you take dangerous risks, but
Right.
you got to take some type of risk in order to get to the next phase, in order to figure out
Elevate.
exactly, And so those are very, very great, excellent points that you make there. And I think for our listeners, that will help those that that contemplate, or that are on that ledge, wondering, should I take this plunge or should I sit here? So, and that was the reason, of course, for me talking with you. Of course, we've built a great relationship now,
Right.
but I thought that, I think she has a very great, unique product. I love it, of course. But I think also, too, there's the story factor, which is what we're discussing now,
Mhm.
your story and as you grow in it. And so I think this will definitely help our listeners as they listen to you. Of course, you just made another excellent point too, letting go of vices, those things that are going to hinder you in your
Roadblock.
progress. You got to let them go, and kudos to you for, letting go of that vice that had you.
Thank you. Those things, they numb out your edge, and an edge is a good thing. They
Mhm.
prevent you from like growth. And so, that has been a game changer for me for sure, as far as just being able to envision the direction I'm going. And for other people who are thinking about starting a business, you're having those thoughts because that exists for you. It's out there because you're having the thoughts because it's already exists. You just have to connect the ends. It's out there. You just have to take your thoughts and your energy and put it so it connects with what is out there for you in the world.
So true, so true. I can attest to that. I know, I dealt with just going back and forth, should I start this? When should I start it? Or what if people don't like this? And it's like, you just got to shut all of that noise out
That's right.
and and just go for it. Because if you, like you said, if you know this is something you want to do, or if it's something you're passionate about, why not try it? Why not go for it? Because you'll never know until you actually do it. So you make some very important points. I think this is going to definitely help our listeners. So I want to ask too, are there any mentors or people that have helped contribute to, your business and how it's going now? Any mentors you want to mention or people that have helped you along the way?
Well, for sure, my mother. She is my biggest fan. I mean, I just don't know what I would do without her. She is my best friend, my biggest fan, and biggest cheerleader. Always. I mean, when I have had issues financially and, or needed, somebody to help me, she's always been there to help me. And because she believes in me. And so, when you have somebody that believes in you, it's like, it means the world to you. The people who have doubted me, I want to thank those people. Thank you so much because it makes me want to just prove you wrong. And really, I've always had really good relationships. I'm not like a person that has enemies or anything like that. But I do think that for a lot of people, having those naysayers is like fuel. But I really do not, and I try not to put any attention into those people, or if I feel like there's some kind of negative energy coming from someone else, I don't put any energy into that because I don't want my reason for success to be someone else's negativity. I want it to be because I believed in it and I worked really hard. And but my mom for sure has been a huge mentor for in life. I mean, I even became a counselor because she was a counselor. I call her my personal assistant now because she's retired, and she'll call me and she'll be like, Roxanne, what am I doing today? And I'll be like,
Mhm.
okay, I need you to do this, this, this. She has been my hugest support. And my son has been a huge motivating factor also, just because I do want him to show him. And he's a young Black man in America,
Mhm.
and I want him to see the world for what it really is, and not to have any false pretenses about what the world has to offer him. And so, we have real conversations, courageous conversations, I guess, about the world. And I just want him to know that he can do anything, and that he can be the boss and he can run the show and he doesn't need to work. And when I say white man, I don't mean like I'm not being derogatory. I mean like a big corporation. owned by someone who's not going to put things back into a community. They're putting money in a big fat bank account that's going to sit there forever, and no money ever is circulated back through a community. When you do have a small business and you have an idea that you believe in, then money continues to circulate through the community when you're buying supplies. And you know, I want him to grow and see his capability and not to work for somebody else who is doesn't have his best interest.
Excellent, excellent, excellent points. And I think that's great. And as you stated, in regards to your son, which is he's a pretty amazing young man because I have met him and
Thank you.
he's very polite. But I don't think, of course, people if they just see your picture, they won't know that you actually have a black son. And so which I'm not bringing it up just to point that out, but people, it's easy to judge people just by how they look, but you just don't know their story, their background. But as you stated, in regard to your son, and this is the same thing that I tell my children: listen, there is nothing that you can't do. There is nobody that can prevent you from reaching whatever success you want to reach in life,
Except for
and
who?
except for yourself.
That's right.
And so that's what I tell my children, and I
Mhm.
think that's awesome that you tell your son that because it's so true. And hopefully, those listening to this, you will understand this that there is nobody holding you back but yourself. I think we started out talking about that on this session. Like I
Mhm.
said, that's the number one thing that is going to stop anybody from taking that plunge. It's yourself.
It's right.
So
It's
once
you.
you get past yourself, you'll be able to the rest, you'll be able to take it on as it comes. But I think those are very excellent points. I think that's awesome that your mom is there supporting you, rooting you on. Biggest fan. I'm a fan of Mama Ruthie myself. I love
Everybody
her.
is. She's awesome.
Yes, she is awesome, and I appreciate her. Just her kindness, just knowing her, and just knowing that, hey, man, we were neighbors. That's awesome too. Just our little background, our stories are
Yes, I
amazing.
love it. I love this story.
Yes, ma'am. And so, any books or any material out there maybe you can give for our listeners that has helped you?
Well, I do have a degree in English. That is what my bachelor's degree is in English literature. So you think, oh, she's really well read. Well, let's just say that Cliff's Notes were a big part of my life. Um, and so while I love to read, I am more of I love to read articles. I'm more of an
Mhm.
article person. And I follow people in social media that, are that have given me insight to business and things like that. So I'm not a big book reader. No, I'm not. Um, but for me, as far as like my business and food and in vegan food, I just am really connected with other vegan influencers and chefs and people within the community that are making big money moves, and not even just money moves, just moves to like show people like you can be vegan and not sit there eating lettuce and cucumbers for the rest of your life. I mean, that's
Right.
not the life. You're not eating a carrot and blades of grass, which I
Mhm.
think is what people have in their heads.
Right, right. Yeah, in regards to vegans, they do. And I guess, if you could educate us on the vegan, because I didn't know what a vegan was. I think you were telling me, you used to be a vegetarian, but now you're vegan. So
Right.
maybe you
So
could.
vegan means that you do not use any products or consume any products that come from an animal, including, so that would, of course, meat, any animal, meaning fish. People are always like, well, do you eat fish? No, no fish. Well, do you eat oysters? No, no animal products. I don't eat eggs because they come from an animal. No milk because it comes from an animal. And actually, the dairy industry is one of my biggest areas of protest. And I lived in ignorance for so long that I had no idea what was going on. And once you go vegan, you never go back. I think it's they that it's real that they say once you go black, you never go back. But I say, once you go vegan, you never go back. Because once you see what you haven't seen or what you haven't wanted to see, it's a game changer, and it's really upsetting. So um, that's why, that's why no animal products at all. And people are like, well, no animals died for milk, but they do. And so no leather shoes, no leather handbags, um,
Wow.
no honey. And some vegan people might eat honey, but honey is not vegan because bees make it. And so I don't eat honey. So that's what being vegan is. But I will tell you that I was vegetarian for a long time, meaning no meat, but I did eat eggs and dairy because I was like on that cheese. I love cheese, and I still do. But there are so many magical chefs that are making the most amazing vegan cheese these days that it's like cheese, dairy cheese is old news. But within 30 days of me, when I finally became vegan and cut out the dairy, within 30 days, the anxiety that I've suffered from my entire life was completely gone.
Hmm.
Completely. And I attribute that to cortisol, which is a hormone that animals release. It's the fear hormone. Even humans, we release cortisol whenever we are experiencing fear. And so in moments when, these animals have lived their whole lives in states of fear, so their cortisol levels are through the roof. And so when we consume them, or we consume their milk, or we consume the eggs, from these mass production facilities, then we are consuming that cortisol, that fear hormone. And so, of course, people have anxiety, and people are like, well, I don't have dairy allergies, or I don't feel that. You don't feel it because you have never gone without it. You've lived your whole life feeling that way, and you'll never know until you take 30 days, cut the dairy and the eggs and the meat. Just see what can you lose, you know?
Hmm.
So that's what vegan is, and it has changed everything about me.
Nice. That's interesting. And I think, as you said, I think you noted that earlier in regard to your business. Of course, vegan may not be for everybody, but I think you definitely are helping those that may be considering going vegan, or even those that are interested. And, they can, now we know more about it because, like I said, I didn't know what a vegan was. But I think the other thing is that, like you stated, you the products that you're putting out, you believe in these products. Not only that, you feel it's helping a part of the world because, hey, you know what? Because I sell these vegan products, I'm saving the lives of some animals. I'm saving the lives of these animals, and so
Mhm.
it helps, like you said, and I think that also goes along with the unique factor of your business because, hey, you know what? When you support Snow on the Rocks, you're actually helping the environment. You're
Mhm.
helping save some animals, and, hey, not only that, you get a pretty good product. So
A
very
dang
nice,
good
very nice.
product. Look.
Yes, very good, very good. And so I guess maybe you kind of touched on this some, but for someone thinking of starting a business in the food industry, or maybe just in business general, what advice could you give them, or what advice could you offer them?
Okay, so number one, listen to your gut. Listen to yourself. Like whatever don't ignore the elephant in the room. If you think there's a problem with something, address it. If you think something's going on, it probably is. Don't ignore the elephant in the room. Just listen to yourself. The second one, like I said earlier, you're going to wake up days and think, what did I get myself into? Don't give up. Like if you believed in it one day, you need to believe in it today. So when you wake up and you start doubting yourself, say no and shut yourself down. Like we talked about, you're the person who gets in the way of your own success. Shut down those thoughts. Like you believe in what you're doing, question yourself, do I believe in it? Yes. Do I still love it as much as I did yesterday? If your answer is yes, then you get up and you go 150 miles an hour the next day to make sure that you're going in the same direction. Don't stop, don't give up. In marketing, dig deeper, think outside of the box, especially right now because of the lockdown and all of the things that we've seen, the shifts that have happened. Lucky for me, I've got a to-go business that's like in a trailer, and people can walk up, get their product outside. I mean, I how lucky am I that I was opening up, scheduled to open April 1st, but I opened up on May 2nd, so a month late. But I had this product that I was ready to get out that just kind of happened to fit the structure of the new craziness, the new, the new real world, I guess.
Right.
But constantly think outside of the box. So my marketing plan went to the gutter whenever the when COVID hit, and all of my plans were out the window. And I had to be like, okay, how am I going to reach the masses? How am I going to get people here? So I started making connections on social media. I was like, okay, who have I connected with? Oh, I connected with so and so. Oh, who else have I connected with? I connected with so and so. So making those connections, hire people to help you in your business that already have a voice in the industry. And the most important thing, not the most, the next one, number 4, make people pay for your product. And do everything for free. And when all your friends come up, they're there. Why? Because they want to support you. They're not there because they expect you to give them everything for free.
No freebies.
No, I mean, especially at the beginning. When you're rolling in the paper, give out free snow cones to your friends and the people that helped you at the beginning. But they're there because they want to support you and they want to help you. And so charge people and don't give away free stuff. If you need to a little bit in order to get the word out, if I go to a school and I drop off coupons for 30 free snow cones, I expect that they're going to go to 30 different families. So they're going to bring, 2 or 3 people up with them. I'm going to quadruple my money. And then they're going to try something amazing and they're going to send other people. So, make sure that you're making more than what you're giving away. And the most important thing to remember is that you are your brand. You are your brand. You.
Mm-hmm.
Every food that goes into your mouth, every article of clothing that you wear, every word that you say, every post you make, everything is your brand. I met somebody, I have a friend who's another woman in business. And one time I accidentally posted a video of myself and a friend on my business page, like on my story. And she reached out to me and she said, "You posted that on your business page." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I ran in there and I deleted it really quickly. And her name's Gayla, by the way, and she owns Henderson's Chicken in Cedar Hill, and I adore her. But I just had to give her a little shout out. But she, came at me and she had my back. And so it's important that every single thing on that page reflects your business and what you want to portray as your business. So I can't be out in the community acting a total fool because I've got a business that I want to have the best reputation, and I am part of that. There's a girl that I know, and she posts a lot about negative encounters with her customers. She'll be like, "This customer did this, and this customer did that, or this person did this, or this," even about like competitors. "This person stole my recipe." You know what? I refuse to put energy into that. We're going to all have some bad experiences here and there, but I'm not going to post or put anybody on blast because I don't want people to be afraid to come to me. And if something's wrong with their order, I want them to tell me. I want them to leave happy and I want them to have the best experience. And so I don't want to post negativity, and social media is huge for marketing. And I think it's important to just make sure that you're not putting that kind of stuff out there. It doesn't matter. If you have a great product, those things are going to happen, and you just got to like let it fall away and focus on the good. So I know that's a lot of information, but those are like, I think, the meat of what can make your business successful. If you do those things and focus on your intention, integrity, and authenticity, then you can build an amazing brand that people can also get down with you.
Wow, that is some excellent advice. I can't even add anything else to that. I want to say I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about your story, about Snow on the Rocks, because this has been amazing and I have enjoyed every bit of it. And so, for all of our listeners, I guess, how can the people find you? Where can they find you at? If you could just provide those
Of
details.
course. Oh, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me. And I know we like really went on for a while, right?
Oh, we did.
Our little time limit was like, we went over that. But that's okay, because I think that we talked about a lot of really great, important things that can help somebody
Hmm.
that's trying to build their brand. Even if you're not a business owner, you still have a brand and something that you stand for in the world. And so you're branding yourself even as a human being who's not a business owner. And so I think that we talked about a lot of really great things. But for people who want to reach out to me or connect with me and to follow, you can follow me on Instagram, and it's Snow on the Rocks, all one word. And it's ROX Rocks, not ROCKS. So it's Snow on the Rocks, ROX, all one word. And on Facebook, it's also the same, Snow on the Rocks. Um, and my logo looks like a little Vegas sign, except for in the background, it's got a snow cone. So I would love for everybody to follow me. I am more consistent, I think, with my Instagram posts, but I do post on Facebook, daily as well. Right now, we're in off season, and so I just am opening periodically, just to keep everybody happy, and also to keep my business relevant even during the off season. I will open full time again on April 1st. That's when we plan to reopen for the next season, and I'm working on getting some people hired, and because my son graduated, so he won't be helping as much because he's, working on his plan for his future. So I'm just working on getting ready for the next season. And I'm also doing Valentine's orders because I do cocoa bombs. And so if you follow me on those social media outlets, you can see what I've got going on. And I post every week, so you're able to see, what we've got going on.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, yes, the people, you can find her on those different social media platforms. I encourage you to go and follow her. If you live in the area, in the Dallas area, please go and check out Snow on the Rocks at the Grow Desoto Marketplace in DeSoto, Texas. You will not regret it. I promise you. She has some amazing products, amazing snow cones, and amazing salsa that you need to try from Mama Ruthie. And it's just pretty great. So thank you so much
I am so
again.
grateful. Thank you.
Yes, for this time. Wow, what a great show and episode. And I just wanted to close with some of her key points in business advice that she provided. The first one she provided was listen to your gut. Sometimes I think as business owners, we have to take risk. Not dangerous risks, but risks that are well thought out. I thought that was really key. She also stated trust the process and don't listen to those thoughts that ask you, what did I get myself into? You just started a business and now you're asking yourself, what did I get myself into? You got to ignore those thoughts because it's all about believing in yourself. And sometimes we don't have all the answers, but there are answers out there. So you just have to trust the process. Her marketing advice, I loved it. She stated, dig deeper and you got to think outside the box. In this time, during this pandemic season, you got to be creative. As she noted, many businesses, of course, that weren't able to do like to go or curbside. A lot of those businesses, because they didn't provide that service, not that they weren't able to, but just that it's just something that they were not able to do. A lot of those businesses had to close, unfortunately. And so even during this time, we have to think outside the box when it comes to marketing. So just dig deeper and think outside the box. I love this when she stated, where she said, no freebies. And I don't know if I can say that enough. You can't have hookups. You can't give away free services and free products. I know some people may want you to do this, but you'll never stay in business if you do this. So you have to make people pay for your products. That's why you're in business in the first place. The last note she left, which was great, and I loved it, you are your brand. Every post you make, every word you say on social media, all of these things, you got to understand that it all points back to you as a brand, and you have to understand it. So stay away from making negative comments and conversations about customers, employees, or even people because at the end of the day, you are your brand. Excellent. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I hope you did too. I want to say thanks for listening. We hope you gained some invaluable knowledge from today's show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe. Subscribe to our podcast. Also, give us a review. Give us a shout out. Send us an email or anything. We would love to hear from you. You can find our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and even Amazon. You can find it there. Also, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at 24-Hour Boss. That's at 24HR Boss. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next 24-Hour Boss podcast.